there is a lot to learn from each other, and I feel like today will be an awesome conversation about creative businesses, fashion, and just life, I suppose, because there is so much to catch up on. And for everyone listening, as always, this is, or rather, not as always, today is the Design Hotline series of our podcast, which means we will have guests, we will have games, and there will be a lot of fun. So get ready to enjoy it. And if you don't work in fashion, don't worry, because today is not just about fashion, but about all things creative. Before we jump into that, obviously I know what my sister does, but probably some of you don't, and I have a proper introduction. So Elizabeth has been running her fashion empire for a while. She has been actually working in fashion for over 15 years. She has her own jewelry brand, Solomeina, and probably a lot of you have seen these things on me that I absolutely love. She also runs an incredible independent fashion design store called Flying Solo, and she will talk more about what does it mean to bring independent designers together in New York. She has two incredible, beautiful stores in the middle of Soho. She does fashion weeks, and she represents lots of designers that are part of her independent store in or during New York Fashion Week and Paris Fashion Week. And her designers have been featured in magazines all over the world, and celebrities like Cardi B and Kardashians have been wearing designers that she represents. But also her jewelry has been in all sorts of magazines and press and fashion weeks. So lots to talk about. I mean, I can talk about my sister forever, but I feel like we need to jump into the discussion. And there hasn't been, I suppose, a better moment to catch up than now, because it's the time of fashion weeks. We just finished the New York Fashion Week, the London Fashion Week is coming up. And Elizabeth, I've seen your designers on the cover of Telegraph. That is incredible.
Yes, we just got that feature yesterday. Very honestly, we're still in a bit of a shock right after Fashion Week, and we need to decompress a little bit. So I personally didn't even see all the coverage for our show, but it needs to be said that we were one of the 3 shows in the entire New York Fashion Week that went live. We dared to go live, and whatever the restrictions were, we overcame it. We did the show outdoors during winter time, and it was amazing, and we did it, and we showed over 80 designers on one runway. We broke our record once again, and we I mean, we're very excited, but we have fond of ourselves.
I mean, it's incredible. I've seen the pictures on Getty Images. They are just stunning. It was on a rooftop with the views of New York. The models were gorgeous. I mean, that has been magical. And I can't imagine how tough it is to create something like that with such big scale and so beautiful in the middle of everything else that's going on in the world, as well as in the middle of the winter, outdoors. That is mad. So I'm really excited to talk today about business challenges and running fashion businesses, because you see so many designers, you consult so many designers, you help so many independent designers to grow through Flying Solo. So I have lots of questions for you. But while we are on the topic of Fashion Week, what's going on in fashion right now? I want to know what happened during New York Fashion Week. Any updates, any gossip you can share with us? What's in trend? Who did what? What do we all need to know about New York Fashion Week that just finished?
Well, designers seem to be very optimistic in general for this fashion week. So everything that we saw on the runways, whether in person or digital, was very bright, colorful, flowery, like spring. People are very much tired of being depressed. Like, that's one thing that's definitely shown. And everybody wants, like, you know, sparkle and color and gigantic, like something, volume for the silhouette. So I feel like once this whole madness is over, we're going to party in style. And the things that you'll see, like people going out, people on the red carpets, people going out like in the clubs, will be magical. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Well, I think it's that's definitely something that I feel that the first opportunity I will have to dress up, I'll wear the boldest colors. I want to put so much jewelry. I want to like just go all out. And they're saying that that will be something that a lot of people will be doing, because we have all these amazing outfits that we didn't wear for the entire year. So as soon as this is over, this will be the time for everyone to shine. So really, really excited about it. But also you work with a lot of independent fashion designers, and there is a lot of competition out there. And I know that a lot of people are watching us right now who are starting their own brands, and maybe they're doing their first collection, or maybe they've already done a few collections, but they're just looking for that scale. They're looking for the way to stand out. So if you have to give some piece of advice for someone who is a young independent designer, how to stand out now in 2021, what would be your top one thing they should do?
Well, my top advice is there was never better time to start than now. The thing is that a lot of people do not realize at the moment that big companies, it's really hard for them to pivot. Like, it's really hard for them to just start again, change their processes. But when you're young, when you really had nothing figured out yet, there is not a chance of things. So I do believe that it truly will be an era of new creativity, new designers popping up everywhere, in both on the runways and in retail. So I'm excited for this new chapter in fashion. So we'll see a lot of new names for sure. And if you're one of the designers right now questioning whether you should start, definitely time to start now.
I love it. That is very encouraging. I think we all need a bit of encouragement right now, and this is something that I personally would want to hear. So thank you for that optimism. And I agree that now is the time for anyone to start, whether they're a fashion designer doing or they want to start a startup. Now is the time to actually do something new and different that no one has done before. So I have actually a first game for you, because today is a game show. As I said, it's a lot of fun. So the first game we're going to play is called, is it Anna, Coco, or Kanye? So I have quotes for you, and you have to decide or have to try to guess, does this quote belong to Coco Chanel, Anna Wintour, or Kanye West? So are you ready?
Okay, yes.
Let's play. Do it. Okay, the first quote. If you are an overnight sensation, you can be yesterday's news in no time. Whereas building something slowly and carefully that has value and quality, that's what I'm going to have, that's what's going to have legs. Is it Anna Wintour, Kanye West, or Coco Chanel?
I would say Kanye West.
No, it's Anna Wintour.
Was it Coco Chanel?
No, it's Anna Wintour. I think it's a very kind of strategic.
I would say it's very misleading, because she did not create a fashion empire on her own. So it just, well,
no, good to know.
Good to know. No, I think it's a very difficult game. I'm like, out of context, I don't think we can ever guess who said what. Okay, let's try next one. For me, first of all, dopeness is what I like the most. Dopeness, people who want to make things as dope as possible.
I think that was Kanye.
And this is correct answer. That is definitely Kanye. And what he values in fashion is dopeness. So all of you fashion designers who want to do Kanye's fashion, you need to be dope. Whatever that means, whatever he means by that, we'll never know. Another, that's a very hard one. I don't know if you'll guess it. If you can't be better than your competition, just dress better.
Coco Chanel?
Anna Wintour again. She is a sneaky person.
She's certainly a very sneaky person. I would never guess.
Okay, one more. Keep your heels, head, and standards high.
No.
That is very true. Yes, correct. This is Coco Chanel. Okay, last one. Visiting my mind is like visiting a mess factory. Shit is real.
I would have to go with Kanye.
Yeah.
For shit is real.
This shit is real. Yes, this is Kanye West. And yes, I think he has a very distinctive voice. That's all I can say. Very, very easy to guess. I probably Anna Wintour models her behavior and her quotes on Coco Chanel. So I see why she's a very, very difficult one to guess. Okay, well done. Thank you. Thank you. It was a hard game and you did very well. So now is the time for the first caller. So our design hotline opens its doors to the first caller. And the first caller is Biria. Let me get him in.
Hello.
Hello, Biria.
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good.
It's nice to meet you both.
Thank you.
We're very excited to have you on the show. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit? What do you do, where you are?
Yeah, of course. So I graduated a few years from Falmouth University, which is in Cornwall. So very different to New York. And my sort of final collection was quite a personal journey because of my sort of coming out whilst at university and also sort of experiencing like queer nightlife cultures and all of that. So I wanted to have my final collection, which is very personal, because I knew that there were a lot of people out there who would resonate with that. So I looked at sort of New York nightlife back in the sort of 70s and 80s, just because it's so colourful, so creative. So Studio 54 and then like Paradise Garage, which was more like a queer space. And then from that I looked at more sort of historical like LGBTQ. I looked at like Polari, which was like a slang terminology used, and all these other different things. And then since then I sort of graduated and just wanted to go traveling, and like I'm now more interested in the business side of the fashion. So yeah, that was sort of my experiences. And then obviously the current climate has slightly changed everything. So I think my question is very much around current issues, which I think a lot of people my age are facing. So yeah, I look forward to asking and hearing from what you say.
So is your question like what you should do now with your collection? So what's your current challenge?
So I would say, because of the current global situation, my question would be how, when you've created a brand and a collection which is very much to do with something which currently isn't available, so mine was to do with sort of going out, nightlife, all of that sort of human interactions that we have, where people aren't allowed to do that, or not to the same extent that they used to be able to do. In the meantime, what would you suggest to sort of like change your business strategy, and what have other brands done that you've seen in the industry?
Well, I think when you're young, like in the position that you are right now, I would say double down rather than change anything, because we already know from the history when something is suppressed, it will be more. Lockdowns and everything is very temporary, and as soon as people will be able to return to the normal life, we believe that parties will go crazy, something that I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast. So given that you're a young brand, strategize right now, make your everything will be happening. You will have that spotlight and the voice. Also keep in mind that again, there was never better time to start than now, because independent, like a lot mid-sized brands will die out during, they are due to their store closures and a lot of things, because they have too much expenses to run through the entire year and they just want to be able to sustain themselves. The very big advantage of a young brand, you pretty much have close to, no expenses other than, creating your production. You don't have a factory where you have to pay all your workers. You don't have gigantic to pay all the rents. You don't have like a huge corporate staff where you have to pay their salaries as well. So you are in an advantage. I know that a lot of brands do not understand it right now, but we already start seeing, like here in Soho, a person started seeing that, younger brands start taking tiny little stores, like the ones that probably even people weren't even, thinking before, but I do believe that we'll go into the time when creativity will be flourishing again, and a lot of really amazing brands will appear on the scene. So I would say double down on your ads. And as soon as the time will come when all of us will go out and party again, I mean, in New York, it's actually start happening very soon, or we'll start going. We already started going out, so it will come to UK as well, and it will be very much sooner than you even think. So prepare your collection and wait for the right moment.
Okay, thank you. It's been nice speaking to you both.
Oh, thank you,
so
Birgit. And I think, do you have any more question, or does this answer what you wanted?
Yeah, I think so. I think speaking to somebody who is able to sort of give that positivity, I think, you know, when there's not all of the sort of hype which is happening because of fashion weeks, and you can't sort of, you know, go around London and see things on the street, you're very much reliant on, you know, social media and, you know, online sources. It can feel quite sort of isolated. So it's just quite nice speaking to somebody and figuring it out. I'm also really enjoying the course, by the way. I'm sort of still, I started it like a week ago, so and it's just been really interesting. So thank you.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, Birgit. And
Thank you.
thanks for the question, and thanks for dialing in, and a really, really good question, and good luck with your collection. I can't wait to start shopping things that are party. And actually, to add to Elizabeth's advice, I think now people also in this a bit of a dreaming mode where they know at some point there will be a party. How many times I started browsing all the kind of crazy outfits that I will wear as soon as. So creating this dream world for people to at least get away for a second and stop thinking about lockdowns, but actually shop things that you can wear. I think there is a lot to that. So I would agree with Elizabeth's advice. Cool.
Yes, also that, well, your reality in London right now, it's not the reality all over the world.
Yeah.
York has a totally different reality, and we much more alive here, and we much more in terms of, we just did Fashion Week. It was, yes, we had to jump through the hoops to do that, but it was like a party. So people did dress up, and it means that whatever reality you see every day, it's not the global reality, and it will very soon change for you as well. So keep that in mind. Just keep global perspective, like instead of like seeing like whatever is day to day, and just keep an open mind, like how fast are going to go back to an amazing normal, and hopefully better than.
Yes, I hope so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Birgit. Thanks for connecting. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, it's back to two of us, and I love what you actually mentioned about the kind of doubling down for young designers who only starting. You're right. When you're small, whether you're a startup, whether you're a young designer, you don't have those costs where you just kind of you're trying to survive. You can actually use your creativity to thrive and create something at the end of it that no one has seen, and it will be so different and cool, and that's like super amazing. So thanks for advising that.
Of course.
Cool. So we have a second game coming up. Are you ready for the second game?
Yes.
Yes.
I feel like I have lost the previous one, but absolutely ready. Let's do
No, you won. I think you got most of the answers, so don't worry. No, this one is a bit different. So it's called If You Could Do One Thing Today. So the whole idea of the game is it's a lot going on, and we can get very distracted with all the things we can do and all the things we should do. And sometimes as a young designer or a young creative company, you only have energy to do one thing, especially if it's your side project and actually you have a lot going on. So a lot of, and actually the course that you created, and probably I should have mentioned that earlier, that we created a course together, which is so exciting.
Yay, you guys will learn a lot from it.
Yeah, and so I think it's the first time our worlds collide between Futureland Academy, the company that I run, and Flying Solo, the company that you run. So we created a course together on how to build your fashion empire. So for all independent designers out there who have their collection, who want to scale to the global markets, who want to be in New York, Elizabeth has a lot of advice for you. But I won't tell you everything that there is in the course, because you can check it out on our website. But going to what you actually, one thing that you mentioned in the course is about understanding what you're trying to do, what's number one goal for you personally. Because for some people it might be getting more sales, for some people it's more relying on celebrities, for some people it's something else. So the game is, if you could do one thing today, and basically I'll ask you different things, depending on what people, I suppose, want to do. And what would you advise them as one thing they can do today to progress with their goal? So what would be your number one advice? So they don't have to go through 100 things. Okay, so have fun. Okay, so if you could do one thing today to get yourself published in magazines, what would you do?
Reach out to find 20 stylists that do work for the magazines that you're looking to be published in, and DM all of them.
Amazing.
DM with your collection.
Amazing. Second, if you could do one thing today to sell a piece from your collection, what would you do?
Do your newsletter, and to all of your friends, previous customers, whoever, the most beautiful way, showcase your garment. Hey, it's one of a kind, buy it now.
Incredible. Third, if you could do one thing today to get more followers on your Instagram.
Okay, there could be so many different ways. But provide value, like do something, like share something that you personally already know, that you might be holding on to, thinking that, oh my God, I'm not going to share it with you because God forbid someone will steal it. Creative people sometimes do get like this. Reality is, it's so many techniques and ways of doing things. Just share value and people will follow you.
Incredible. That is a really good advice. Fourth question, if you could do one thing to save money when designing your collection.
Look through what you already have, like to take a look at whether you have material from the previous collection, or you have something that you already own instead of going shopping for something new. That is something that a lot of designers actually did during the times of the lockdown. So really good way of reassessing what you have.
That is great advice. And I have last one. If you could do one thing today to get noticed internationally, so you want to get outside of your country, town, city, you want to be noticed as a fashion designer internationally, one thing would you do?
Go through great international influencers. Don't go for the big ones if you're not super. Go through the medium or even like small influencers. Find one that really fits your brand and sell or a piece of jewelry or whatever you make, and ask them to wear it. And this is the way you'll get attention in the market that you're looking to progress in.
And done. Well done. Thank you. There's so much great advice in like 5 minutes. Mind blowing. This is great. I just wanted to talk a little bit more now in a more relaxed manner about just young designers, and I suppose just the difficulties of starting or scaling a fashion brand when you don't even know where to go and what to start. Are there any typical mistakes that you see that young designers do when they're just starting out? They have their collection, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, but as creatives, it's very difficult to have this business mindset and know what you need to do to actually grow it as a company, not just as your passion project. So what are the main mistakes you see designers make in their first couple of years?
Well, there are a couple that pretty much everybody with a big ambition will do. First of all, the assumption is for young brand that your first collection will be your best yet, and it will be completely sold out, and nothing need to be adjusted. So you do a huge production, then end up being with all the inventory. Realistically, guys, whoever is listening from young designers, as much as you're certain right now that your collection is the bomb, then everybody is going to wear it. There could be multiple issues with that. Not even could be not even your fault. It could be your manufacturing fault. Fabrics could be wrong for this collection. It could be so many things when you're just starting out. Big companies do that as well, by the way, and so it's not something that you necessarily have to write off mistake, but rather a strategy. So basically, traditionally, factories will try to convince you to do a big production run because, well, they'll make more money from you, and they'll explain to you in a way that, hey, like if you're doing only one, it will cost you, I don't know, 10 times more than if you're going to do 100, and then you end up doing 100 and stuck with all this inventory because it's too small, or the zipper that is not in the right side, or whatever the case is. So it's always cheaper to do just a sample, and like sample or very small production batch, sell it, and then see what the issues might be. So for the next production run, you can actually change it. And no matter how much you right now determined that you did all the right things, and you previously work in the industry, and you previously work for the big company, and you know everything, and this advice is irrelevant, trust me, you will thank me when you will end up doing another production run and saying like, thank you, Elizabeth, for giving me this advice and saving me so much money. Truly, I've seen hundreds of designers. Like at this point, I am pretty sure that every second of the young designers will run into that problem. Another big thing is it's also that mindset of go big or go home. While for the design part, it's certainly true. You have to make a statement. If you're all about like fashion, and if that is your statement, go big, whatever it means for you, like design wise. However, spending everything to your last cent for your first couple months while building a fashion empire might not be a good idea, only because you might get noticed and might start something but run out of money completely when you won't be able to continue. And this is something that you definitely don't want to do. Yes, there are certain things that you love to do for your collection. I don't know, custom zippers, like the very best fabrics, the one that imported straight from Italy and the one that no one else has, and custom prints, and like all those like super expensive things that are super nice to have and make to union. However, optimize it. Optimize, because you're more likely to run out of budget before you actually make it. So keep in mind, it's a very long ride, and if you're ready for the long ride, then you go succeed. So keep in mind, it will not be just a month or 2 months when you become famous and everything. If it happens, so amazing, you save yourself a lot of money, and you actually have more room for development. But very realistically, you will have to adjust. An unexpected cost will happen to your collection. I always say, like, do your budget, whatever it is, a factory cost, material cost, whatever it is, and multiply by 3. Multiply by 3 will be a very realistic number what you end up being with, because because it's your first collection. Just from the bottom of my heart, I am hoping you follow this advice, so you to save yourself time and money and actually like becoming a very successful brand.
I love it. And thanks for mentioning finance, because I feel like no one teaches finance to creative people. When we study at universities, everyone talks about their ideas and how cool things you should make and what's kind of the story behind it. But realistically, any creative business is a business at the end of the day. So you need to understand what are your costs and how you're going to sell it and where you're going to get money to actually produce everything. So just suddenly pursuing all your ideas and then realizing that you run out of money halfway through, so you can't actually even finish with your idea. That's something that I personally see a lot of creatives doing. So it's a great advice to start thinking from the business side from the beginning. And it doesn't mean not being creative. It doesn't mean that you won't create an amazing, beautiful collection. But I feel like constantly being conscious that you have limitations, and they say that limitation is something that actually sparks creativity. That's what can make a difference.
Yes, and to add on that, it's truly so. Creative people make the best collections when they're very limited in resources, because when it's limitless possibilities, and in fashion it truly is, you can do so many different fabrics, many different finishes, so many different, many different things you can do. However, if you limit at least in some parts of it, all of a sudden you'll see your creativity, you'll start thinking differently, and it will truly help your collection. So you will not be thinking through all the million options, because in certain areas your options will be limited, and it's a good thing. Trust me, it's a very good thing. It will help you.
Amazing. I wanted to touch on actually one more thing, which is related to, I suppose, fashion or any other creative business, including mine and yours, which we keep running and struggling every single day with all the mental stuff that you have to go through as a founder. And again, when you are a fashion designer or you're a graphic designer or you're branding, whoever you are, you're a creative person and you want to pursue this as your full-time career, I think a lot of people, including myself, underestimate what does it mean from the mental perspective. So just the fact that you're in charge, but also means you're responsible for everyone. You have to make decisions. You have to decide what's going to happen in a year as well as what's going to happen today. And it is a mental roller coaster for any person who runs a company to actually think about this all the time while being creative, while coming up with ideas and running these wonderful agencies or fashion brands or whatever the creative person trying to do. And I love, obviously, we talk to each other a lot, and I feel like obviously we found each other and we can complain to each other about all the struggles that we have in our hands mentally, just how tough it is. And it doesn't mean that we don't know how to overcome that. It's just acknowledging that it's not easy. And I suppose one thing that I've learned personally, that the difference between the businesses that make it and those that don't is not their idea and not the amount of money, but the mental strength of founders to actually go through all the hardships and even in the toughest situation have the energy to figure out what's next. So on that note, do you have any advice?
Yes, no, absolutely. I certainly have especially because we survived through this year. One thing that I definitely learned is the only thing that will get you through is the power of your mind. It's truly so. I remember when back in and well, things were not that great, let's face it. We decided that we're going to do Fashion Week in September. Things that I heard, like, you insane with all the curses goes to that. What are you guys doing? Never going to happen. Like, absolutely mental. Like, all that stuff that you cannot let it affect you. Well, we figure out if you cannot beat them, you join them. That's what happened to a lot of people when they learn from you that you're not going to back down, no matter what. You're just going to do what you said to do. Then they're like, okay, well, I'd rather join them. They seem to know what they're doing. Maybe I'm not personally sure. However, I'm going to join them. So, and this is kind of like, you need that muscle, like mental muscle, to be strong, to keep your vision and just to keep going forward. When things get really tough, and trust me, in any business, like last year, maybe you were you're doing business through the best economy times of all time. Still, there are days when, like, things didn't go according to plan. So you just have to keep in mind the bigger picture, and you have to be determined in your head that no matter what things fall on you, you will make it happen. And only that will lead your team, because your team is also, especially if you have a team, your team or your customers or whoever is following you, they look up and ask you, like, what's going to happen, how is. I personally ask a lot of times when corona will be over. I mean, it's pretty funny, right? Like, it's like when things will change. I don't know. I don't know, but I know that we're going to do things that we said to do, no matter what hoops do we have to jump through. And when your team that you're going to execute the vision, no matter what, you're determined to figure it out. Determination to figure it out is the main thing that founders should have. And then you're going to be a successful company. The thing is, you do not need to know right now going to figure things out. As long as you're determined to do that, you'll be okay.
This is a fantastic advice, and definitely, obviously we talk about this a lot, and we align on the fact that it's up to us, all of us, whoever is going through this, to decide what's next and stick to this decision. And it's hard. No one is saying that it's easy, but the grit that you have, and I suppose maybe because of our childhood, we developed the ability to go through any sort of barriers, no matter what, and that skill is probably the best that we could learn through school, universities, and anything else. It doesn't matter what knowledge you have, it doesn't matter how much money you have, but if you have grit, you can do anything, because if there is an obstacle, you'll be like, okay, well, let's figure this out and see what's next. So yeah, definitely, I think grit is something that we should all develop, and if you don't have it, then you have to develop it. If you do have it, then rely on it, and just know that, well, the life can change every day, but if you know that you'll figure it out and just kind of stick to it, then it will be okay. I think there was a good saying, whether you, I think, again, someone famous like Ford or someone said it, whether you think you can or you cannot, you're right. So again, if you genuinely believe that you can do it, then you'll do it. There is no other way.
And to add to that, also when you start hiring, maybe you're alone right now, maybe you didn't hire any teammates just yet, or whoever you choose to work with. At the beginning of your journey, choose those people, whoever, like, they are non-traditional thinkers. They're the ones that's not taught by the book, and this is the only right way, and there is no any other right way to do things. No, there should be people surrounding you who can figure it out. Whether, I don't know, things went completely wrong from the very beginning, nothing went according to how things should be, they are here and start thinking on the spot and figuring it out, because that will help you to build that core of the team. Yes, of course, later on, maybe when you have like 100+ employees, you might have those, well, by the book, ones that need to do like things within your company that need to be this way. But when you're the only person, maybe you hire 1 more, 2 more, 5 more, those have to be the people who must be able to figure things out, because in a small business, things happen every day, from raining during a fashion show and you didn't expect it. What to do? I don't know, it was -8 degrees when we did our fashion show. We didn't expect that, but you know what, we need to have to be prepared and then figure it out. Surround yourself by those people, and you'll be not only more successful, but you'll be happier, because people around you won't be telling you, oh, it's not possible, that's it, we have to give up here, it's not possible, goodbye. But they will say that it's possible, and we go do that, let's figure it out. So you need those people in your team.
How do you find those people, though? My question is, I think I always hear the advice from like entrepreneurs: hire people better than you, hire people like this, hire people like that, hire people with experience in this. And always the question is, if only those people were just like available everywhere. I mean, I'm super lucky with the team that we have here, but it has been hard finding this. It's not like every person who comes to an interview suddenly is this amazing, curious, hardworking person who can figure things out. What's your, I suppose, rule, or how do you identify if this is this figure out type of person who will be a good addition to your team?
Well, remember that quote that when that is said, hire people that can get out from the third world country jail. So that is basically the mentality. So it is hard to it is sometimes hard to spot them, but there's certain indications. Yes, sometimes it takes like trial weeks or month to figure it out, but you will see it. Then when the problem occurs, instead of well, there is no by the book solution in that, and that's it, I gave up. Rather try to sit and figure it out and Google it and try all different ways and go through that once again. Those are the people you want to keep, especially at the beginning. Again, there's a place for all. Become in a startup, you have to have a startup mentality.
Amazing. So we have another caller actually calling in. So I feel like it's a good time to switch on for the question from the audience. So let me get Nadia in, and she has a question for you. Hey Nadia, how are you?
Oh, hello.
Amazing.
How are you?
So we have another caller actually calling in. So I feel like I think you have your YouTube on. If you close that window, then it won't be an echo.
Hi. Nice to see you here, and thank you so much for the invitation. So I want to
Nadia, we can't hear you very well. Your mic is very, and we can hear ourselves. So it seems like your mic might not be connected. I can hear an echo.
now?
No, nothing.
Can I try without, maybe?
Yes, let's do this.
How this?
Oh, better.
Oh, okay, perfect.
We can hear ourselves a little bit. Yeah, let's try it. So, do you want to start with an introduction? Who you are, where you are, and then go into your question.
Okay, shortly, my name is Nadia. I live in Milan, and almost 4 years ago, I started my own brand here in Italy. Most of my couture pieces I create personally by myself, and all the commercial garments I produce in Florence with a very nice Italian factory. So I met Elizabeth exactly in the right time when I was planning to make my fashion brand more international. And so it was a big luck for me that I've been invited on New York Fashion Week with Flying Solo New York. And so we made incredibly beautiful runway show. It was so exciting for me. Like I met also very amazing people, so talented in the fashion industry, like the press, stylists, photographers, bloggers, influencers. So it was really cool. And about this situation, it's not a secret that fashion is changing right now, and it's even more important now to produce more and more digital content for the brand, like to show our work to our customers through the digital platforms. And I would like to ask you, Elizabeth, how do you see the future of fashion after 1 year, after 5 years maybe, and how to grow the brand faster in this moment?
Oh, well, sure. So thank you so much for joining us. Nice to see you. In terms of yeah, in terms of the way it's going to the way to moving forward. So basically, there are a lot of brands, as I mentioned before, that's going to die out, and it's the honest truth. And a lot of mid-sized brands that will not be able to pivot will die out during, like, well, they're already dying out through the last year and this year. But it's a very good news for independent brands. That means that it will much more room for the young talent. So I do think that we'll see boom in like independent young brands, and a lot of them will make their name during the time. Keep in mind, it's not only like, the stores that, will become available, but it's just media space that become available. I mean, yesterday for one of the this fashion week were one of the three live shows, and we showcase only independent fashion brands during our show. So meaning that all those brands that were brave enough to present showcase fashion week are going to get significantly more attention than they would have get any other year, just by default, because it's not much to cover. Just keep in mind, it will be the same situation going forward. There will be less mid-sized brands, and means more room for the young ones. It also affects everything from like Facebook marketing, Instagram marketing. It means like more room for every for the young ones, and it's amazing. So again, the advice will be, well, double down on all your efforts. Like, if you're doing digital, do more digital, make a bigger splash, and you actually have a chance to grow significantly faster. I know that it doesn't seem this way right now. I know things seem to be upside down, and God knows how to move forward, but it's actually the time. Any big change is a great opportunity for something new. And you guys, the young brands, the one that well, in their first, the beginning of stages, are the ones that have the biggest change. So just keep going. Please keep going, and we'll see
Okay,
a lot of
perfect.
amazing
Thank you for the
fashion very, very
advice
soon.
so much. Also, after New York Fashion Week runway show, I received many questions from my customers about how the dress will fit on their body type. So, what do you think about this kind of presentation if we will invite a real people in brand's lookbook or even on the runway? How do you see this kind of possibility?
Well, I think in general, their whole thing is, it's much more now. We're much more connected to the customer than ever before. Fashion used to be separated by, like, this is the fashion designer, and this is all the media and fashion editors, and only then there is a customer that have to see collection through the lens of the fashion editor. So they didn't even have a chance to make up their mind of whether they like it, they don't like it. Press will tell them what to think, which is kind of, I don't think that it's super fair, because that doesn't leave you much room for innovation and different points of view. Right now, everything changed. So customers can see it right away from the runway. We will definitely see much more designers just going direct for the consumer, skipping like, while price is obviously important for the exposure, but opinions are just opinions, and customer can make up their mind if it's for them. It might be just for that very niche group of customers that you're going for. It doesn't have to be for everybody, and it's okay. Fashion is all about niches, like catering to very specific people, making you individual, like making you very unique. That's what fashion is all about. So it doesn't have to cater to all, and that's how you need to think about it. We certainly are going to see much more a real, like, well, customers coming to the runway show, because at the end of the day, right now, they're the ones supporting independent brands. Especially, they're supporting them by giving them sales. And again, it's no longer the in between, like, department stores that, as you know, a lot of them going out of business. They're buyers who get to decide what's cool, what's not. This is the final customer. A lot of you guys, independent designers, selling directly through the website or selling directly to consumer in all many different ways. So Therefore, you should care about their opinion first before you care about anyone else's opinion, because the other people are not really supporting your business. They just give an opinion, which is fine. I mean, we're in own free country, so you can give your opinion. However, whoever pays should have the biggest voice.
Thank you.
Of
And
course.
how many collections should we produce in a year, like to save the attention, to save our audience, and what is the best number in each collection?
Oh, well, that is so individual for everyone, because while traditionally majority of the brands will do two collections, like especially like mid-size smaller brands, some do up to six collections, six or even eight collections a year. I think everybody should be comfortable with their pace, whatever they choose, because last thing we all want, is to get to the point when fashion designers are hating like 8 fashion shows a year, when it just producing pieces just for the sake of producing pieces, not even for the sake of wearing them, and constantly exhausting the consumer for new and new collection. Make quality, make whatever fits you the most. If you're capable of making one collection a year, amazing. You're capable of making 3 pieces a year, like new silhouettes, and just repeat in different colors, or have the same ones on the website, which are your core colors. Amazing. Do not go for like worse quality just to sustain whatever you think is supposed to be right. And therefore, I don't believe that it should be seasoned more in a traditional way. Of course, there are of course, countries have seasonalities, so it's not like you're going to wear a heavy coat in the middle of summer in New York City. However, branding collections constantly for fall, winter, and spring, summer, it's also a bit outdated. If it's a beautiful dress and you want to wear it in the fall, what's wrong with that? Like, just think about it. What exactly is wrong with wearing a beautiful dress that's supposed to be a spring collection in fall? Nothing. You just love the piece and you keep wearing it. Same, for example, goes for collection when brands branded men's and women's collection. If a man want to wear your shirt, the one that you like original and having a customer in mind, so what? He's your customer and he's loving it. The other way around, maybe some women want to wear whatever pants that you create. They think that it's an amazing fit on them. So, like, I don't think that we should, subscribe to the very old models. And again, it used to be that, like, certain gatekeepers in this industry that dictate what to do, and like, that is the way it's done and we cannot do it any other way. But with social media and digital, you get to choose how to run your brand. So do not stuck to old fashioned ways of doing things. Do what's right for your brand. You want to release like little by little, like piece by piece, maybe one piece every 2 months, and really showcase it, and then ask your customers what color they prefer, and then make it on demand. Amazing. You want to do collection by collection because your customers are super excited to attend fashion shows. Amazing. Do that. You want to do only resort wear because you actually live in in a very warm country, and you do not care about winter collection, since it's not even relevant to you. You do not care about this.
Yeah.
Do that. So just all the rules already been broken, traditional ways. So just listen to what you have to say to yourself, and say with your collection what you have to say.
So, also for the most successful advertising and brand building, would you recommend to focus more on fashion editorials in magazines, or social media bloggers and influencers? So, what is better, magazines or bloggers?
There is no one thing that is better. It just depends what you're going for. Of course, magazines give you a certain appeal, and if you're a couture design, I mean, I'm making it more general than it's actually is, but in general, like if you're a couture designer, you might go more for editorial, because a person that wants to buy like whatever 8,000, 10,000, $20,000 garment, like might as well validation from, I don't know, Vogue or Ella Harper's that's already published it. And they'll just feel good about their purchase because a big magazine with a name recognize it. But maybe if you're going for, your audience is very young and super trendy, and the ones that changes their
every couple days. You want to go after influencers because they're the ones that basically publish on demand. They will get your outfit today and publish it tomorrow, compared to a traditional magazine that will take, well, my up to 6 months to publish your garment. So it's different approaches. Not No one thing is better than another. Otherwise, the other wouldn't exist. It's just different approaches. Just think for yourself. Do not again compare yourself to other brands from other areas. Just think for yourself, what is needed for my brand? What kind of customer am I going for? Is that the particular way to connect with my customer? The answer is yes, go for it.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Nadia and Elizabeth. I think we're actually running out of time, Nadia, unfortunately. So I wish. Well, okay, go for it.
Go for it.
Okay, as a designer, I always do try to make more creative, more special and unique piece, like to show my creativity. But here is two sides, like between art and street fashion. How to find a balance between this artistical fashion and more street style, and do really successful like commercial collection, like the balance between.
Oh, well, I think you're battling with to, like, the main thing is to actually find, because you, like, what a lot of designers do not get is you don't need the entire market to like you. Mass fashion is not something that young designers should actually go after. Zara will do the job, not worry. We'll have people to dress in like mass fashion. You're going after niche customer. So who are you going after? Is it that fashionista, like that 1% of fashionistas that are super crazy and like no matter what they dress up, it's like it will be enough for you to like sustain your business and make a lot of money if you're going just for that one. Or you're going for, more casual, the niche, like that you decide for yourself, that is like love comfort, that I don't know, like to sports, but they still like to wear, I don't know, like very girly stuff. I don't know, whatever the customer is going for. Just important to remember is like a small niche is actually enough for young brand to make really good money. If you really cater to the customer, you don't need to satisfy everybody. Some people might even hate it, and it's fine. It's fine if some people will not like your garments, because I mean, well, fashion is not for everyone. Not every design is for everyone. So just go after your customer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you so much, Nadia, for joining. Great questions, and thank you. Bye. Okay, and we are back, and I felt like we could go on forever, and I love all the pieces of advice that you gave, and I think, again, talking about independent designers, I couldn't agree more that now is the time. Just thinking of myself for the past year, I bought so many things from the brands that I've never heard of because I'm bored. I'm on Instagram, I'm bored, I'm browsing online, and these new things pop up, and I don't have any more this, I don't know, the usual stores open where I could go and try everything on. So for me, now I don't care anymore if it's like an image online from an independent designer or some brand I already know. I'm actually more likely to try something new, especially nowadays supporting small businesses, supporting people who are actually making the living for themselves and trying to do something different. So it is incredible, and I'm so excited for all independent designers myself, and can't wait to see the new fashion shows that you have. And actually, I was just looking through all the images from your current fashion show, and I was already like noting down all the pieces that I want. So it is super cool and super exciting. We obviously we can talk forever, and we probably will after this call. I know you have other things to do. Do you have any last piece of advice or anything else you want to add to the conversation about if anyone works in fashion, anything else they should focus on, anything else they should think about in 2021?
Just keep positive. Like, I know that especially creative people, are very sensitive to what's going on. Creative people always get inspiration from outside. What they see inspire them, and they transform that information into their creations, whatever. you are in. And of course, when it's a lot of sadness in the world, it's really hard sometimes to keep positive. However, find those things that make you concentrate on that. It's not an easy like road, and we almost at the end of it. Please, like, keep positive and keep creating. I know, as being creative myself, like, give me a lot of energy and inspiration, and it's what sustained me throughout like years when I was in like different fields. So like, don't pay attention to the rest of the world if it doesn't suit you at the moment. Keep creating, keep like keep giving your voice to the out, and that's what will keep you going, because that's what you're here to do. If you true, if that's what you're here on this earth to do, and nothing should be stopping you.
Oh my gosh, you are so cool. I feel like everyone is so jealous right now that I have the coolest and the most wisest sister in the entire world. So I'll stop here, otherwise I feel like everyone will just start spamming me like, can we be friends with your sister? Thank you so much for finding time to catch up and do this publicly with everyone listening, because I feel like we can discuss so many different things, and definitely you are an inspiration to so many designers and inspiration to me as well, and I love you so much. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and for everyone who is listening, if you want to get more of the wisdom from Elizabeth, we have a fantastic course, Build Your Fashion Empire. So check it out on Future London Academy website, futurelondonacademy.co.uk, and you'll find also lots of useful resources there. There are lots of templates there, and in the course Elizabeth actually talks about how to get in Vogue and how to get in all these fancy publications for free. And if you are smart with how you do things, you can actually do it, as well as how to work with celebrities and how to get your garments on red carpets and how to scale your business to the international level. So lots and lots of advice from Elizabeth there. And yeah, it's super exciting. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to follow Flying Solo on Instagram. They have all sorts of inspiration there, and don't forget to follow Solomeina Jewelry on Instagram as well, because you know these pieces are gorgeous, and I'm sure you love wearing them as much as I do. And follow Future London Academy. We are on Instagram, where we have this podcast called Creative Capes that you probably listened on one of the platforms. Definitely follow it and subscribe for more interviews, as well as our YouTube channel, where you can see our faces, where you see how we look and who we talk to. Press subscribe so you are the first one to find out when the new interview is coming out. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure speaking, and I very much hope that if today I helped one person to do something great in their life, and you know it changed their day and they keep going, I'm already, the day was worth living. So thank you so much, guys. Please, I give the advice from the bottom of my heart, from something that I learned and see mistakes over and over again. So please, like, use my wisdom, like whatever I see other creatives, and use it for your companies, for your brands.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, and thanks everyone for tuning in, and until next time, bye.